Period, we talked about the properties of exponents. Well, these are the properties of rational exponents. Same exact properties that you copied down last class period, so you really don't need to look at them again, okay? If I am multiplying exponents, I add them. If I'm raising one to another exponent, I multiply them. This one down here is like taking that m and kind of distributing it backwards. Same thing over here. The m goes to the a, the m goes to the b. If I'm dividing exponents, I subtract them. And if I have a negative exponent, I have to drop it to the bottom to make it positive. Same concept that we talked about last time. But now we're fixing to do it with fractional exponents. So here's my problem. I have 4, the 4th root of x cubed over the 8th root of x squared. The 4th root of x cubed over the 8th root of x squared. Now, all of my properties talks about exponents, correct? So what do you think I need to do with this radical form? I need to take these radical form. I need to take this radical form and put it into exponential form because that's what all my properties deal with. So this 4th root of x cubed becomes what? X raised to the 3 over 4. The bottom, x raised to the 2 over 8. Now, if I have exponents that I'm dividing, what do I do to solve it? Subtract them. So 3 over 4 minus 2 over 8 is going to give me what? What's 3 over 4 minus 2 over 8? What? 1/2. So x raised to the half. While that is the correct answer, it is not in the right format. X raised to the 1/2 is a correct answer. But my problem is what? In what type? Radical form. So my answer has to be written in radical form too. So it would be the square root of x. So this part is basically just like 6-2. You're just learning how to do your exponent rules. From here to here. So if I had, this is my M, this is my N, and this is my A, and I change it to a radical, my A is going to go up underneath, which is my X, my N is going to come out here, and my M is going to go there, which is the same thing as that.
So if it doesn't have anything like higher than a 2, it's always 2.
Let's look at the next one. So what is each product or quotient in simplest form? Well, these two I'm multiplying, correct? Well, I need to take my radical and put it into exponential form because all my properties are in exponential properties or exponent properties. So if I have the square root of 3, it's going to be 3 raised to the half times 3 raised to the what? 1/4. Now, I have a problem that looks like this. My bases are the same. Does everybody see that? So I'm just going to move it over here. I'm multiplying exponents, so I'm going to add them. So a half plus a 4th. So what is a half plus a 4th? 3/4. So I've got 3 3/4 that needs to be put into radical form because my problem is in radical form. So what is my radical going to look like? The 4th root to 3 over 3, to 3 raised to the 3rd power. So what is 3 raised to the 3rd power? 27. So the 4th root of 27. this and this together. A half plus a fourth gives me 3/4. Okay. Simplifying numbers with rational exponents. 16 raised to the negative 2 over 2.5. What did I tell you could do if it does not have a variable in it? Put it in your calculator. 16 raised to the negative 2.5. It's going to give you some really weird number. Now, how am I going to take that and make it right? Hit, enter, enter, and I get so that would be my answer. So I'm just going to put 16 raised to the negative 2.5 in the calculator and then hit math, enter, enter, and it gives me 1 over 1024. You can do that as long as you do not have a variable in your problem. Okay, last problem, 6-4. So we're probably going to use a couple of different exponential rules in this one. So I got negative 8 times x times the square root of xy, and I'm going to raise the whole thing to 2/3. So if I raise the whole thing to 2/3, what does that tell me I'm going to do with this 2/3? I'm going to pull it to the a, pull it to the x, and to the xy. So I'm going to have negative 8 raised to the 2/3 times x raised to the 2/3, and then the square root of xy raised to the 2/3. So before we even deal with these first two, let's talk about this back here. That's a radical that I have to first put in exponential form before I can raise it to 2/3. So I need to take this radical and change it to exponential form. What is it going to look like when I change it to exponential form?
Griffin,
Yes, ma'am?
Hayden Sullivan for checkout.
Okay. I have two variables, right? What are they each going to be raised to? Not dealing with the 2/3 yet. I'm just dealing with this right here. 1/2. So each one of them is going to be raised to a half. Now I'm going to take the half and raise them to 2/3. Right here. If I have the square root of x, y, this would be 1, this would be 1, and this would be 2. So x raised to the half, y raised to the half. So this right here becomes pretty much whatever math we can come up with over here. So what's a half raised to 2/3? If I'm raising a power to a power, what do? Multiply them. So what's a half times 2/3? 2/6, which is 1/3. What is a half raised to 2/3 again? Gives me 1/3. That takes care of my radical. Now the rest of it's simple. I have x raised to the 2/3 right here, and I need to determine what negative 8 raised to the 2/3 is. Anybody? If you get -4, you did not put your negative 8 in parentheses. You got to put it in parentheses. So is there anything that I can combine right here to simplify? Huh? Your x x's right here. We can combine those. So if I'm multiplying the x's together, what am I going to do with the exponents? Add them. So it's 2/3 plus 1/3. 1. And then I have y raised to the third. Now, my problem up here has y in a radical form, right? So I just need to make that a radical form. So 4x